Hello students, I'm Himani Sharma, your UGC NET Paper 1 educator. In this new video, the new YouTube video, we will be moving forward with our last lab, the program, the 30-day program that we have for your last minute revision purposes. The 40 that we are supposed to do, the way we are going to approach questions or this 30-day program is through the usage of certain PYQs, with which we will be dealing with the most important concepts which are required for the UGC NET 2023, if you want to, pass your UGC NET 2023 with flying colors. So without wasting any time, let us just first see the first question that we have here. You all can pause your videos here and see and try to match list 1, which is the types of memories which are there, with list 2, which is the fabrication method. The answer that we have here is option A. Let's just match it. A with 3, B with 1, C with 4 and D with 2. Let us just now see if how many of you were correct and what do we have as the meanings of these very terms which have been given there in the question. But before jumping into the explanation that we have for all the 4 options which were given, let me just tell you, fabrication method here means that when a device is manufactured in the ICT, in the computer networking or the computer part, it means that what kinds of cables, transistors, circuits, etc. are used for that very manufacture, are used for the making of that very device. Correct? So first we have the DRAM, which is dynamic random access memory. It is first of all a sub part of RAM, which is random access memory. So a quick question for you all, let me know that RAM is volatile or non-volatile. Correct? So DRAM basically is a type of semiconductor that is typically used for the data or program code which is needed by a computer processor to function. So basically what you are supposed to learn here, obviously it is a subset of RAM. Its full form is dynamic random access memory and it is made up of a transistor and a capacitor and is a volatile memory, which means that when a memory is volatile, when you turn off the computer or the power is gone, it means that the data which was not stored there will be deleted permanently, right? Then we have SRAM, which is the opposite of dynamic, which is static random access memory. It is obviously again a subtype of RAM, right? And it retains its state for data, bits or holds data as long as it receives the power. So basically, till the time the electricity is attached, till the time you are going to have the the computer or power turned on, till the time the same memory will be there. So because of this thing, that both of them are the RAM memories which are there, these things are the ones which have volatile state, correct, which means that they are temporary in nature. So the circuit here used is flip-flop, and in the question we have matched SRAM with the flip-flops only, correct? The third thing we have is programmable read-only memory. So it obviously is a subset of ROM, which is there, a blank version of ROM where you can write the data only once, manufactured as a blank memory and programmed after manufacturing it is programmed. So basically this is a type of disk which is there in which you can the user, whosoever is using it, can program it accordingly, correct? The process of programming using the programmable ROM is known as burning or blowing, because it involves burning or blowing out the fuses of certain cells, and then the data is programmed into that very chip or that very disk whichsoever is there. Then we have erasable programmable read-only memory. It is a type of ROM. So we have done till now 4 types, out of which 2 of them were the types of subtypes of RAM and 2 of them are the subtypes of ROM, correct? So erasable programmable read-only memory that can be reprogrammed and erased many times. So this can be erased only once and this can be erased many times and can be rewritten, correct? The floating gate transistor is a kind of transistor that is commonly used for this kind of non-volatile memory, which means that ROM is not temporary, it is permanent, correct? RAM is volatile. So I hope if you have answered that question in the comment section, you would now have known that RAM is a type of memory which is volatile, which can, lose its state when the power is gone. Then we have, following are some statements regarding web browsers. So you are supposed to choose the statements which are correct. All right. So pause your screens here and see which are the correct statements which we have here. The answer to this question is option A, which is A and C only. So first of all, what are web browsers? Let's just see. First of all, they are application software. We have two types of softwares most of the times in our computers. Two or four types of software, let's just say. Four types of softwares are there. Number one is system software, which are required for the system to function. For instance, we have Windows in our computers, we have Androids in our phones. So if there will be no Android, no Windows, our computers won't work. So that is a system software which requires for the system to function. Then we have the application software. Using the application software, we have certain applications which are installed in the computer. So if we want the application software to work, system software should be there, correct? The application software such as MS Word, etc. All of them, MS Word, Adobe, etc. All of them are the examples of application software, right? Web browsers even for that matter. Then we have driver software, which are used if we want to have certain drivers. If we are going to connect a printer with our computer, how are we going to do that? We have to install a driver already in the computer so that we can connect the two devices which are there. Then another we have is the programming software for programming languages. Correct? Coming back to what we have as the web browser, it is an application software. It is a subset of application software for accessing the World Wide Web. Web browser, we have, for instance, we have Mozilla Firefox. Correct? So these browsers are applications in our computers. For instance, Internet Explorer. These are the applications in our computers which are there from where we can access the internet and the various web pages which are there available for us. Correct? They have a home page, which means when you land there, you have a home page and then there you search there. They have hyperlinks. Now, what are hyperlinks? Hyperlinks are if you open a web page, if you open certain thing to read on an internet, it has something in, for instance, it has something which is underlined or it has something in blue color. If you click on that very link, you are redirected to a new page. So those are known as hyperlinks, correct? And users' favorite web pages can also be stored using the web browser, correct? So if we look at these options, yes, the web browsers have a home page. Yes, they have hyperlinks to allow users to navigate from one website to another website or one web page to another web page. And here the statements would have been correct if they would not have used do not, because they do have the ability to store users' favorite pages using cookies which are there, correct? Or you can bookmark your favorite pages. They also keep a history of website visited by the users if you are using them in a normal mode and not in the incognito mode, correct? So A and C are correct, because if these were the ones where do not would not have been used, these two would also be the correct options. The next question that I have for you to pause your screens is, the National Repository of Open Educational Resources is managed by which institute? The answer here is option C, which is Central Institute of Educational Technology, NCERT, right? Let's just read the explanation there. So this is a body, the National Repository of Open Educational Resources, NROER. It is managed by Central Institute of Educational Technology, NCERT, right? We are clear with this thing. Then this was launched on what date or year? 2013 in New Delhi. So these are certain important factual informations. So if you have your notebooks with yourselves, you can note these things down, because obviously these are certain questions from, this question specifically was from 2021 shift, correct? With the Department of School Education and Literacy, Ministry of Human Resource and Development, Government of India. So what, another question that I have for you right now is, MHRD is now known as what? Right? So you can comment down and let me know. Then it hosts a large number of educational sources because open educational resources, as the name suggests. So we will be having numbers of educational resources which are there in many subjects and in different Indian languages for different, curriculums of primary, secondary, senior secondary classes. Correct? So sources or resources for every person, for every class is there, which is conducted by the NROER, which is managed by NCERT's Central Institute of Educational Technology. Then we are supposed to see the correct order of computer components ranked from fastest to slowest in terms of their access time, which is the fastest memory, which is the slowest memory. Pause your screens. The answer here is option D, CADB, which means C, A, D and B, which means that cache is the fastest memory, correct? Then we have RAM, then we have SSD, and then we have optical drive. Let me just draw one example, draw one figure for you all, which obviously will be there as well. But for you all to note down that registers are something which are certain kind of microprocessors which are there on the CPU. This is the fastest form of memory. Then we have cache, which was given in the options, correct? Then we have main memory, and then we have the secondary memory, correct? So if we look at the options here, cache, because registers are not given, obviously then cache is the one which has the fastest access time. Then RAM, then we have SSD, and then optical drive, correct? So let's just look at the explanations here. First of all, what is a computer memory? Computer memory, any physical device used to store data, information or instruction temporarily or permanent, because RAM can store it in the computer, but it can also be, as I told you, RAM is a volatile memory, which means it can get destroyed. It can be deleted if the power is turned off. So there are 4 types of storage levels which are there. Internal memory, for example, cache. So cache memory, small sized type of memory, and it is volatile, which means it also can be deleted. That provides high speed data access to a processor and stores frequently used computer programs, correct? So in cache, whatever programs we are using every day, those things will be stored there, applications and data collectively, and it is the fastest after the CPU registers. Then we have main memory like RAM and controller card. Main memory is used to keep programs or data when the process is active to use them. The processor should be active to use these things which are there. So if we are talking about RAM, let me just tell you that RAM is something which which depends on the computer processors which are there. For instance, if you have 4 GB RAM in your computer, and if you use any n number, let's just say 2.5 GB or 2.56 GB of the RAM, your computer will slow down a bit, correct? And if it will reach till 4 GB, how much the RAM is there already in the computer, it will slow down the whole system of the computer. So you'll have to get it externally, operated or installed on your computer. Coming back, RAM is one of the fastest type of memories which can be accessed directly by the CPU, correct? So after cache, we have main memory, as I told you in the figure as well, because we have registers, then we have cache, and you are supposed to remember it like this only. Registers, cache, main memory. In main memory, we have RAM here. It is the hardware in a computer device to temporarily store data. So even if it is saying, as it is saying, temporarily store data, which means it is volatile, and the data will get deleted until the machine is working. It will be there. Once the machine is turned off, the data will not be stored there. Then we have online mass storage or secondary storage like SSDs, which are there. Non-volatile storage, which means it is permanent, because these are kind of the devices which can be attached with the computer and the data can be taken just like pen drives, right? But these memories, the SSDs, are larger. They have larger memory capacity to hold. correct? Offline bulk storage or tertiary storage, which comes after this very thing. So after secondary, we have tertiary storage, which is just like the optical devices, which are known as the CDs, etc. Correct? So CDs, etc., CDs, DVDs, they are the, they can store data which is there but less in number, right? And in a computer external or internal drive that uses laser beam technology to read and write data. So in the previous times, what people used to do was that they used to copy paste data from their computers on CDs and DVDs, correct? So as I told you, you are supposed to note this thing like this only: registers, cache, main, flash, traditional, secondary, correct? Now next question that I have for you is match list 1, which is the computer terms with their descriptions. So pause your screens there and then and see what we have here as the answer. The answer that we have here is option A. A 3, B 4, C 1 and D 2. Right, let's just see first of all what is HTML. The full form of HTML is Hypertext Markup Language, which is used to create web pages. So in your class 12th, 11th, people would be teaching you, if you would have taken ICT or IP as your subject, you would have been taught HTML as well, that how to create web pages, right? So you can create web pages using hypertext, and these web pages are created using what? Maybe using Word, MS Word or Notepad, and then you run the link which is there, correct? Then we have Web 2.0. There have been 3 generations: Web 1.0, Web 2.0 and Web 3.0. 3.0 is what we have in today's time. For instance, I'll talk about Web 3.0, but first of all, let's just talk about Web 2.0. Web 2.0 was something which talks about collaboration as a concept, where people can read data, they can write data, and they can share the data that they have. Transformation in how people utilize the internet. So first of all, let me just tell you, Web 1.0, 2.0 and 3.0 were the evolution of WWW. That how the World Wide Web was from, just from the reading part, it went to read, write, and then Web 3.0, read, write and execute, correct? So Web 2.0 is read and write and share basically, correct? Interactivity was a major feature there because people were sharing data, they were collaborating with one another, and user generated content. On Web 2.0, website users can communicate and work with one another through social media. Let's just talk, for example, as an Instagram, or let's just talk about Wikipedia as an example of Web 2.0, because people can collaboratively change data, they can share data, share their thoughts, etc. there and then. If we talk about the Web 3.0, so Web 2.0 is collaborating people, people sharing data collaboratively, hence it is known as collaborative web. But if we talk about Web 3.0, it is known as a semantic web. Next phase in the evolution of the web. The main concepts include decentralization, openness and increased user utility. Berners-Lee argued that Web 3.0 is a semantic web. So first of all, memorize this very thing, that Web 2.0 is collaborative web, Web 3.0 is semantic web, correct? So one more thing that I would like to give you as examples are Web 2.0, I gave you the examples of Wikipedia, correct? We can also take example of Quora for that matter, because people share their opinions, etc. there. In Web 3.0, we can take example of Alexa and Siri, because the human and the machine gap is being reduced using Web 3.0 and openness is being there using the technological front, correct? So using Alexa, you can give the commands there to, machine to machine. A machine to machine conversation is happening. That's why it is being known as the semantic web, correct? So these are the 2 examples of Web 3.0. Then we have VoIP, which stands for Voice over Internet Protocol, which generally could be taken an example of WhatsApp web calls, Google Meet calls, which can be audio, video calls. Because you are using internet to make a call, that's why it is known as voice over internet protocol. Allows people to communicate via audio over the internet. Transforms a standard phone transmission into a digital signal that goes over the internet. So basically any calling that you are making using internet is known as voice over internet protocol. Correct? The next question that I have for you is, what is a web browser? And there are two different statements about a web browser and a search engine. You are supposed to make a differentiation and see which one is the correct out of the two. The correct answer here is option A, which means that both statement 1 and 2 are true. How? Let's just see. Statement 1 says a web browser is a piece of software that retrieves and displays web pages. We have done a different question on web browser, and we have seen that if we talk about Internet Explorer, if we talk about Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, those are web browsers only, and those are application softwares which are there installed in our computers, and from those we can access different web pages. Correct? This information may be in the form of pictures, images, Google images, web pages, which are the different web pages which open in front of us, videos, news, etc. Correct? The web server sends the data back to the browser that displays the results on internet supported devices. So obviously, if you have internet on your computer or your laptop, you can use Mozilla Firefox, you can use Internet Explorer, and you can visit different web pages. You can also download images, you can download videos, etc. Correct? So the World Wide Web was the first web browser, and this is the statement, this makes the statement 1 is correct, which means the web browser is a piece of software. What kind of software? Application software that retrieves and displays the web pages. Second statement that we have is, a search engine is a special kind of website. Now read the information correctly. That helps people in finding web pages from other websites. So first of all, web browser is a software which is installed in your computer. For instance, Google Chrome. Now in Google Chrome, you can open Yahoo as well by logging yahoo.com, by writing yahoo.com and entering the URL which is there. So it is happening. The search engine is leading you to it is a kind of website. So you are led to a website of Yahoo using the web browser of Google Chrome. Correct? The search engine is an online answering machine which is used to search, hence its name is search engine. Correct? Search, understand and organize the content results in a database. Correct? It is a special kind of website that helps user find web pages from other websites. Correct? From Yahoo, you can also find different pages to different websites. If you type on Google Chrome, you type google.com, you can also have different websites or different web pages displayed in front of you. To display search results, all search engines first find the valuable results from their database, and that's also what we talk about in the SEO optimization. The website which has been used mostly will appear in the very first, home page which is there, the web page which is there. So SEO, what is that? Search engine optimization. If some of you are content writers, you might be knowing that what is the purpose of SEO. If we talk about the content being reproduced or produced on the very first stance. Correct? So hence statement 2 is also correct. Then we have digital initiatives in higher education field and their purpose, because these are the ones, because they are the digital, hence they are being used in the ICT field. Pause your screens and answer me. The answer that we have here is option A, which means A 3, B 4, C 2 and D 1. Correct? Let's just read and see for yourself if you have marked the correct answer. The National Academic Depository is a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week, which means 24/7 working online repository for academic records or awards. So any certificates which you are given, or which academic certificates which you are given for your bachelor's, for your 12th, 11th, 9th, etc. All these things can be stored on the National Academic Repository, right? Lodged by academic institutions and boards. So CBSE, 12th certificate, right? All those things can be stored there. It provides an online store that houses all the academic awards, and mind you, anything which is stored on NAD, right, National Academic Depository, it is valid. So even if you don't have the hard copy of that very document, you can show the soft copy, which is as valid as a hard copy. It also verifies and ensures the legitimacy and safekeeping of all the academic documents that you have. Then we have NDL, that is National Digital Library, which is there, correct? A virtual repository of learning resources. Hence, it is known as National Digital Library. Correct. So if it is a library, obviously it will be storing multiple sources, e-resources which are there, which are required by students. It provides filtered and federated searching with a single window search option, and provides supports to all academic level students, which means that e-resources for every student are available on the NDL. Then we have spoken tutorial. Is an audio video instruction that describes a computer activity which is there. Minor topic may be addressed in 10 minutes. So it is a digital initiative taken by the Ministry of Education to have tutorials which are addressed, in which the topics will be addressed in less than 10 minutes, will connected using certain videos. By connecting each video in the string, it can cover a topic in a comprehensive way. So from one topic to the other, spoken tutorial are that they are speaking and the tutorials are being done, and 10 minutes are being taken. So obviously, if you will be getting lesser time and the topics are being covered on a gradual level which is there, that is what is used in the, if we talk about the digital initiative, spoken tutorial. And this recorded video can be accessed anytime and anywhere, which makes it a resource, which makes this resource or this digital initiative very easily accessible for students and the scholars whosoever want to access it. Then we have the FOSSEE project. Now a question for you, write down the full form of FOSSEE in the comment section below if you know. So basically it rejects this project supports the use of FLOSS tools, open source software tools which are there, which means that there are certain things, certain programs we are talking about. If we talk about ICT, there are certain object codes, object and source codes which are there, correct? So in the source code, you write the program. Even if we talk about the HTML program, you write it in a particular programming language which is easier for you, correct? So FOSSEE makes this open source software available to everyone so that they can edit it according to their own usage, correct? The use of FOSSEE in educational institution to ensure that commercial software is replaced with open source software alternatives, correct? Next is the question that I have for you regarding the computer virus. Which one of the following statements is true? The answer here is option C. And for option C we have, it is a computer program which copies itself to infect a computer without the permission or knowledge of the user. If you would have ever come across a website which tells you that you have won an iPhone, you have won this and that, which means that it is a program which will copy itself, which will reduce your computer's speed when it comes or enters without your usage, because you thought you were the one who trusted that very program. So it is a type of malicious code written to alter the way a computer operates, and there are multiple malwares. What is malware? Malicious software. It is made up of two words, malicious and software, correct? So there are multiple types of viruses. For instance, we have ransomware, Trojan horse, spyware, etc. All of them are something, logic bombs for that matter, which was asked in the question. So these were certain things which are there, which enter your computer, which multiplies itself, and it is something which can hamper not the hard drives, not the hard components of your computer or hardware, but the softwares, and can slow down the speed of your computer and can even copy paste the data on itself, right? So the data that you have, that the private or the confidential data that you have stored on your computer could be accessed by people who would have made that virus enter your computer. So in order for a virus to infect the computer, one has to run the infected program, which in turn causes the virus code to be executed. So if you click on that very program, that website, okay, that you have won an iPhone, claim that claim, clicking on that claim is something which will read or redirect you to have a virus on your system. Viruses can be spread through email, that is known as phishing, correct? And text messages, attachments, internet file downloads, etc. To avoid contact with the virus, it is important to have an antivirus software as well. Even obviously these are certain things which can be taken care of when you are surfing the internet, that you are not supposed to click on a particular code or anything which is given there. But antivirus software is something which can be also installed on your computers to get, rid of these viruses which can be scanned. Then we have the last thing, the last question for today. You can pause your screens here. The answer here we have is option D, which is A3, B1, C2 and D4. Let's just see what we have here for the answer. First of all, I have given you the example of how if we need our system to operate, we need the system software or the operating system to be there, correct? So a system software is something which is related to the system. For instance, the operating system that we have. Examples could be compilers, interpreters, assemblers, which will be used for the translation of the machine level or high level language into the machine code, right? And operating systems such as Linux, Windows, Android in our phones, etc. Correct? Application software, on the other hand, we have talked about the web browsers as well. The application softwares are simply the applications which are installed on your computer for specific purposes. For instance, we have VLC media player, spreadsheet, which is Excel, MS Excel, which is there, correct? Word, which is there. Anything which is related, even library management system, these are certain application software which are installed in your computer for certain applications to work or run. Then we have security software. Any sort of software that secures and protects the computer, network or other computing enabled device. So for instance, we can talk about the firewalls, the antivirus program that I was talking about when we talked about the virus question, right? So these are certain software which are used for the security of your computer. And the last thing we have is the embedded software, which we matched with the automatic fridge, because it has certain kind of program which is embedded on it and it is going to work like that only. That runs on custom built special purpose hardware that is intended to do a specific. So embedded software is used for a specific well-defined task repeatedly. So for the ice to be there in your fridge, etc., all of these are things which are embedded. These codes are embedded on your computer, on the systems, right, on the hardware which is there, and that's why they work for a specific task which is done repeatedly over time. For example, Bluetooth, automatic fridge, Alexa, there might be certain things out, even the alarms we can say, right, for a specific purpose which is there. So students, this is all what we had for today's video, right? We will be moving forward with certain more things and more concepts in the upcoming videos for the last lab program. Till then, keep on studying, keep on smiling. I will meet you again. Thank you so much.